Hi, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to work on a bracelet that we sort of designed yesterday on our live show. It's from pieces using my Thunderhorse Descendant FOC, which stands for Found Objects Challenge, which Randy Brown does just about every month. There's every once in a while there is not one because of like she's on vacation or something that month, so like December we didn't have one. So anyway, we're going to turn down and we'll look at the things and we'll discuss how we designed it on the live, and then we'll make it. So let's turn down and do that. So here are the pieces. Well, I have added these and these from out of my stash. Everything else was actually from the box. This was a big strand of beads, which I cut apart. We're only going to need these 6. And this was actually a necklace that I took apart. It had a big, another piece in here. As well, actually 2 more because there was a chain in here too. So, and then there was, this was originally on here, but there was another piece of chain on here as well, and I didn't care for that, so I took it off. And now we are going to put this chain back on. Now, I could use my own jump rings because I prefer an oval jump ring, but this one, when I took it off, there were round jump rings on here. And these are pretty strong jump rings, and they match our stuff much better. So we're going to go ahead and use those, even though I wouldn't normally. I think I have plenty. What we're going to do is we're going to take these double bead caps, which are from my stash. We're going to put these between our beads like so. Like so. And then we're going to do 3 sets of those, and they're going to go on our wires, and then we're going to jump ring them in between here. We are going to jump ring our piece on this chain on over here. That's probably the first thing we're going to do. Then we'll wind up these. But then we're going to do 3 of those, and then we're going to jump ring them in the middle here. I think I have enough. Oh, more than enough. There's quite a few here. So you'll notice I put 4 on the side here to put these on. That is because our little diamond pieces here, or diamond shapes, triangles, however you want to put it, there are 6 of them. And I want 3, so that would be half. But the problem being that we'll put 1 on either end here, but then the one in the middle is just, you know, it's, where's it going to go? So it either has to go over here, and we'll see if that will work, or we're going to have to double jump ring it to the 2 sides here. No, the 2 middle pieces. So we'll see what we have to do when we get to that point. Right now we'll put these we're going to put that one aside and our jump rings, except for this one, and we're going to put this guy together. It's already sticking on here. It wants to go. So put this piece on, get our pliers out, and we'll close this jump ring. Now, like I said, this is a very strong jump ring, very stiff and strong. It doesn't want to go over there entirely, so I have to convince it. I think we got it there. Yep, we do. So we have our chain on this side now, and there's a giant lobster claw on this side. It came with it, and I didn't take it off. It is working fine, so there's no sense in doing so. So we're going to put these aside until we have our beads all wound up and ready to go. So put that up there for right now. So the first thing we're going to do is I have 4, I don't need 4, but I figured I'd get an extra one just in case, because I've been known to mess these up a time or two. We're going to take these old 3-inch head pins and we're going to cut the heads off. So now that we have the heads cut off, we have 4 pieces of 3-inch wire. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out about where we're going to need the beads to sit at, which would be about right here. So we're going to bend the wire over about right here. Then we'll get our bell making pliers out and we will make a loop on this side. Now, since I'm going to hook these on with jump rings, I don't have to worry about leaving a gap or anything so that we can slide these on easier. So now we're going to hold this. And wrap this up. Come on, baby. Since that was just enough, I just tucked it right onto there. Then we'll have one big brown bead, and actually these have a blue cast. I don't know if you could see that, but when you turn it, there is a slight blueness in there. It's pretty. So anyway, we'll put our bead cap and our other bead. So there is how it's going to look. Now we're going to want this to go in the same direction, so we'll put our pliers in and we'll give it a twist. Get in there. Okay, there we go. Up and over and around. Bring her down and over. And then we'll do exactly the same thing. We'll hold our loop. Then we'll get a second set of pliers and we're going to wrap it. We'll cut the excess off. And tuck in our extra wire. Make sure we're straight onto each other. It looks like we are. So this piece, we have to do 2 more. And these are going to be jump ringed between our 2 pieces of our bracelet. So that it'll go in the middle, right here. Let's go ahead and put this first one on, why don't we? So grab one of these jump rings. It'll go through the loop right here in the middle of the triangle. Now, if you'll recall, I said that these were very stiff and very strong jump rings, and that was one of the reasons I chose to reuse them. So we'll get it in place. There we go. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So through and then through the side over here, the exact same way. Make sure you go at the right side because you don't want to get it all put together and then discover you have your pieces backwards to each other. So here is our first piece. Now that gives a bigger space than I anticipated, but I still think it'll be all right. Because it's going to be a big, wide, chunky bracelet. and go around like so. Though actually with that jump ring, with that in there, it might not be as tight as I want, but we'll see. So we've got the first one done. Now we need to do the other two and put them on. So we do them just the same with the bend in the top here. Get our up and around and over, bring her around, grab hold, and then wrap. Now we go and put the next set on. Make sure we're facing the same direction when you make your next bend. Now I usually use my other pair of chain nose pliers when I hold, but I'm finding I like these flat nose. They're not a big wide flat nose, so they are fine for holding, and they don't and they hold a little better, I think, because they can hold it, the whole thing, better. So cut this extra wire off here and tuck this in. This one tipped sideways, as you can see, so I'm going to put the pliers in here, put my thumbnail right across where the bend is, and bring her over. So there we go. There's number 2. And now we'll do number 3 before we finish putting it together. Now, this is wider than I expected it to be with the jump rings and things. So if I decide it's too big, there are 2 options here. I can change this lobster claw out to a smaller one, a regular size one instead of this big one. Or I can get in and change my jump rings. Now I will have to check to see if my jump rings my smaller ones will fit. I don't think the Tinky Tots will, but I think in fact, I know the Tinky Tots won't because of the width of this bar here. However, I think my medium size would work, and I think it would make it just a little bit smaller. We'll see. First, though, I'm going to do this last here, and then we'll put it together and see what happens. So let's put the last one together here. Now I have this one a wee bit longer, so we're going to cut this off. Oop, careful, Rose, don't get your anything else in your cutters besides that end. Now, if you watched me make the little teardrop earrings, you will have seen how I caught my wire with the back end of my cutter up on the side up here and cut part of the wire off, and it was nasty. Really sharp little piece hanging out. So you got to watch for that. I usually do. That time I didn't. So, okay, now our last one, we want to face it the same direction. Okay, now we'll grab this loop with our pliers and finish our wrap. Come on, baby. Trim the excess off, and I can feel that I'm bending this wire here, so we will have to straighten it up after we finish tucking this. There we are. See how I twisted that sideways? So we will have to straighten that. There we are. I think still needs a little. I'm going to take my pliers this time and move it just a hair's breadth. There we go. So now we'll put our pieces together here. So we've got the one in already, so then we're going to put one here in the middle and then one here. And that looks a little crooked yet. So it will sit like so. I would consider putting 4 in there, but I think it would be too tight. It might work. Maybe I'll get another set out and we will make one more and see if it'll fit in there. If it will, that's great. If it won't, if it does, we will put them like, and the 4th one would sit right here in the middle here. I'm not sure. It might be too much. But let's get the pieces together. We'll make one up. If it doesn't work, we can always cut it apart easily. So I've got the pieces. We will start by making our bend. Open over, bring her around, get our pliers out, hold this here, wrap, there's a teeny bit more than I want there, so we'll just cut it off and tuck this the rest of the way in. Come on, you tuck. There we go. But in the process, we mangled our loop a bit, so we will get that straightened up. Now, I don't even have to finish this. I can just see if it will fit in here decently. They are going to all go side by side. And now you see how it's coming out the edge over here and over here if we put that fourth one in. Even though this one, without the fourth one, it leaves some gap, it leaves space between. If we put the fourth one in, we're pushing our outer sides way over off the edges here. So even though that looks sort of cool, it's a little too big, so we are not going to do this one. I'll put it aside and we will do it up later. But in the meantime, let's get these pieces put on. So we'll take our pliers. Got stuff still from a different project out. Didn't realize that, but that's all right. So we'll put the outer one on first, since it is a single loop here from one to the other. So on she goes. Okay. Now the other side. Out of the way, baby. Oh, come on, stop fighting me. Now we actually can put it on. It'll come up a little higher than that. And open our jump ring, or our lobster claw. Now somebody told me a trick the other day and I haven't tried it. Probably should. It would work probably better. But that's to take your hook and put a bobby pin up on it so you can hold it on your hand as you hook this. So, but just gonna see if I can get this open. Maybe I should switch the way I have it here so it's coming up with the lobster claw. This is a big lobster claw. You'd think I wouldn't have a problem with it, wouldn't you? But come on, slide over that. There we go. Now see, it is a little loose on me here, so it will slide down on my arm more than I'd want it to probably. So that question becomes, do I want to change this lobster claw? Which I'm not sure I do because it fits in really well. Or do I want to try a smaller jump ring? So that is the question. Our jump rings are not quite going to match the golds like it did with these. And I could switch it to a different lobster claw, much smaller, and that would obviously doesn't quite match either, but it would make it be quite a bit smaller. Oh, that color's better if I decide to do this. It is bigger than I want it here, so maybe we will get out some different jump rings and see how much of a difference it would make. Okay, I've got some of the smaller ones out. I'm going to try putting it across our piece here and see how it works. Now see, it wants to sit sideways there because of the, well, because of the way that B is. It wants to sit on its side instead of going straight, but at the same time it does cut off quite a bit. Well, maybe not quite a bit, because it's gonna come up here. It's gonna cut off some, but it won't cut off a ton. And the color doesn't really matter so much once you get in amongst all of these other golds. It doesn't seem to make that much difference. So let's put the other side on and see what it looks like again. We're at the third one. Hope it's gonna fall out. There we go. Now let's see. See, I don't like the way those jump rings want to sit in there. They want to sit sort of wonky, and I don't care for it. So we're going to go back to the big ones because these little ones are just not cutting it, in my opinion. The oval keeps trying to slide sideways. Well, this is messed up anyway. I think I got it a little twisted. Let's see. Anyway, the oval keeps trying to fall sideways in the, see how it's doing it right here in our little clip thing here. And it's doing it over here now. So I don't like that at all. So we'll take these back out and put the round ones in. Hope it looks like I didn't open it enough. I was hoping to get down to Tucson this year, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately. Oh, there's the split over here. Now, I could have hardwired these on, and it might have worked better. Well, it definitely would have had less space. But the problem being is that if I were to do that, I would have had to have some pretty good sized loops on my hooks here. And I would have had to have been very careful about putting them on. Though it might have looked better because they would have been smaller. But let's get this guy started again. Now this one, like I say, is the one with 2. And maybe I'll do both of them on this side and then switch to the other side. We're using 2 because it's in a weird spot here. We want it to come over sideways, and it's only going to the one way, so we need to make it, hopefully I made the loop big enough for 2 of these to go through. I didn't even think about that. It's not going to. So maybe what I'll do is, instead of going into this third one here, we'll go over into the other side here and go on, baby. Should have made the hoop bigger as it was, the loop bigger as it was, it looks like. Then we'll go to the opposites one that we want on the other side, which will pull it a little sideways. These are very stubborn jump rings, and it went up a little above. See how it closed there? So we're going to have to get this one in and bring them back together. Better. There we go. So now it's in the middle because it's going from this side to this side, so it's staying pretty much in the middle of the bracelet. And we'll put this on here, see how it works. And then the jump ring comes on here. But like I said, it is bigger, much bigger than I want it to be. Let's see what it ends up being on the bracelet sizer when we close it up on this jump ring here. Drop it down on here, and whoa, it goes a long way down. Much bigger than I want it to be. So I think we are going to change that lobster claw, which is a pity because it's pretty cool. But if we switch the lobster claw to a 15, I think this one's probably like a 25 maybe. Let's see. Well, it's a 20 anyway. 22. So switch it to a 15 rather than to 22. We should cut quite a bit of the sizing down. I don't know how to size this down anymore because, we already checked our jump rings. They wouldn't work unless I were to redo it entirely and make much bigger loops so we could hardwire these onto here, which I could have done, but I didn't. So let's see how it works with just changing out our lobster claw to a different lobster claw. And if I wanted to, I could change this jump ring, also making it smaller. And in fact, I think I'm going to do that. So let's take this jump ring back off. This jump ring's a little wonky anyway. It's got a weirdness at the bottom here. So we'll pull it through this way because it doesn't want to come off. Then we'll put one of these smaller jump rings on. Now these are not as strong as that one was for sure. So we may even double jump ring this just because it would be stronger that way. And I have two open anyway, so we might as well do that. Come on, take it. Oh, come on. What are we doing here, folks? There we go. Now let's see how much smaller that made it. It is definitely smaller. Come on, baby, all the way up there. Well, I can't get it to go. What else is new, right? So we'll hook this on here. But as you can see, the difference in the size of our lobster claw, that's going to make about a ½ inch difference, quarter-inch to ½ inch difference in our length of our bracelet. Come on. I did like that big lobster claw on here. It looked cool, but it just made it be too big. It's still a pretty good size because the biggest, it's going still way down here into the 8. But I think it's pretty cool looking. So it's not so big I could slide it over my wrist though, so I'm going to try one more time to get it on though. But as you can see, without my hooking it, if I'm right here, see how close that is? They're bumping into each other right there. So it'd be better if it was even a little bit smaller, but it's never going to be. Because the jump rings, the smaller jump rings did not look good. I did not like those. And I do have smaller round ones, which might work, but I don't want to. I don't really want to put those on. These are a really strong jump ring that were on here originally, so that's why I reused those round ones. And they are, come on you, they are holding them better. I think they'll hold really well, whereas I'm not sure about a come on, babe. Just about had you there. Slipped. So these are a very thick jump ring. They wanted to fight with me even opening and closing them, so I don't think that they would, I don't think I have to worry about them getting yanked open. If they you know, they'd really have to get caught and really yanked, I think, to open these round ones. So, so that's why I decided to continue using them. Got it. Now see, it doesn't really feel that loose, even though it is looser. It still feels pretty strong. So there's what that looks like. All finished. There's the back with the smaller jump ring. I mean the smaller lobster claw. And there she is. Now I do wish I had made these loops a little bit bigger so that they could have gone, both jump rings could have gone on and made this one stay more centralized, but it's pretty centralized just from the side to side, and I don't mind it. But if I were to redo this bracelet for any reason, I would make much bigger loops on the sides and on the wires that held these, and then directly put them on here. I think that would make it quite a bit smaller because these jump rings are pretty big. And I might have been able to leave the other jump ring on, I mean the other lobster claw on, but I like it. I think it turned out pretty cool looking. So there we go, finished product. So there we go, there's our bracelet. I have got it on still. It actually hasn't wiggled around as much as I would have expected it to, since it is quite a bit bigger than my wrist. But I like it. I think it turned out pretty cool. There we go. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. We made this really cool bracelet using parts from my Found Objects Challenge bag from Thunderhorse Descendant. Now, Randy's been doing this challenge for about almost 2 years now, I think. I think we started in April 2 years ago. So, yeah, and nobody gets the same stuff. So if you're thinking, well, I can order that and I can get that and I can remake that bracelet just like that. No. Everybody gets different items in their kit. They are, most of them have been used and there's something else when you get them. Like I said, this bracelet was originally a necklace with no beads in it and just more different type of chain in the middle. So it was pretty cool looking. I'm going to make that chain into a different necklace as well. But this is what we came up with for the bracelet, for this piece of it. So I think it turned out really nicely. I like it. I hope you enjoyed making it with me, because it is a fun bracelet. And anyway, as I was saying about Randy's Found Objects Challenge, she puts these out. There's a limited number of them, and she only has them up for sale for a certain length of time, because she wants to have you have time to do something with it, for it to get to you, and you do something before the time frame is up, which there is a time frame, because she does, like I say, once a month. And when you hit that time frame, then it's midnight of the night before she does the random drawing for the prize. And yes, there's a prize. It's a $50 prize. Well, it's $50 worth of beadings materials, so it's pretty cool. So it's definitely worth playing. I like it. And so all you got to do is make something new out of the things you got in your bag. First thing is you want to take a picture of the bag so you can see what it looks like. Then you take a picture of your finished product, and it's got to have some of the items in your bag. You can add more to it than is in your bag, which sometimes is a necessity. And but yeah. So this time what I added was, of course, I switched the lobster claw. I put in the wires, and the double bead caps were what I added to to make this beautiful bracelet. So anyway, this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.